Hello and welcome, baseball fans, to another episode of This Week in Baseball, presented by Diamond Digest. I think this is episode 13. I'm not sure. Last week I thought it was 12, but I still don't know if that's right. I didn't bother to look. I am your host here this week, Diego, and today we've got some friends with us today, Jennie, Tavi, Maddox. How are we doing today?
Well.
Doing well.
Yeah, everything's good.
Good to hear. So as always, we'll run down through the standings updates and all that. We'll jump right into seventh inning stretch, talk about whatever there is to talk about in baseball. It's a new week of baseball, new week of events. There has definitely been a plethora of things that have gone down. But as always, we'll start with the standing update. So let's start with the American League. The American League East, the New York Yankees are up on the Rays, 8 games up on the Rays. In the American League Central, the Cleveland Guardians are 2 games up on the Twins. And in the West, we have the Astros, who are 11.5 up on the Mariners. And your wildcard teams out in the American League are Tampa, Seattle, and Toronto. And 1.5 games behind Toronto, you have Baltimore, and then 3 games you have Minnesota. Those 2 teams really still in the hunt. If you want to call the White Sox in the hunt, they're 6 games back, but it's Tony La Russa, so they're not going to do anything. Anyway, in the National League, out east, we have the New York Mets 2.5 up on Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves. In the Central, we have the St. Louis Cardinals 5.5 up on the Milwaukee Brewers. And then out west, you have the Dodgers, an obscene amount of games up on the Padres. And you have the Braves, Phillies, and then Padres as your wildcard teams. In the National League with Milwaukee, 1.5 back of San Diego, and that's really the only other team in contention for that wildcard spot.
Thought you were going to say Wade Lamont was in contention.
Wade Lamont, only Wade Lamont.
Player?
Yeah, the Giants are bad. Like, Wade Lamont, it's Lamont Wade. Wait, what were we saying?
I don't know.
You threw me off. Lamont Wade is the best part of that team. That's not true. But anyway. But yeah, a lot of the standings haven't really changed a whole lot from week to week. As of, I can't tell you the last time I think these standings have changed, except for the American League Central in the last few weeks, because the Guardians have no business being ahead in that division. Yet here we are. But any thoughts from anyone about any of those standings at all? Anywhere?
I mean, I really don't understand how the Guardians are winning that division. I guess.
Wait, is it a Central division?
Well, yeah.
And literally anyone can win it.
Anyone can win.
That's true. Except Detroit.
I keep feeling like that Twins team is going to take off and the Guardians are going to fall, but Andres Jimenez is carrying them a little bit. And, I mean, Shane Bieber's been good, and they have the young pitching. So, I mean, it's a Central division, I guess.
It certainly is.
I have an old
insane.
Yeah. I have an old meme where I took the poster for the cinematic masterpiece Rat Race and photoshopped a bunch of NL and AL Central teams on there just to represent how those divisions really are.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, I don't know. It's just that team.
Need to bust that out more.
The team. I mean, the Guardians. I'm a big fan of pitching in general. I think pitching really does get you further than any lineup will, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm also a massive fan of Tristan McKenzie. Like, I just love watching him pitch. He's like, I just love him. I also like Cal Quantrill a lot. I like their staff. Their lineup's doing enough, and so I think you find them in a spot where the Twins are just running out of time to kind of bounce in. But they're only 2 games back, and that can be made up in a matter of days. So who knows? Maybe next week we'll finally see that movement. But the White Sox also were supposed to be running away with the division at this point, and they're struggling to stay at 500.
Are they struggling to stay awake, maybe? Is that what
Maybe. It's at least the manager. Like, Tony La Russa is bad at his job. And it's funny. It's so funny. Anyway, but yeah, the rest of the thing, I mean, the Yankees, I think, comfortably ahead. Not as comfortable as they were, but still pretty comfortable. I guess the NL Central, you could still see some movement. As much as I don't want to see Carson have any room to brag about the Cardinals, I'd imagine the Brewers don't have much left in them.
I mean, we just saw the Brewers in two not quite back to back. Like we went Brewers, Miami, and I mean, we split a series
schedule.
with them. I do not like the Dodgers. That's a whole other thing. But their last schedule is basically.
I don't like the Dodgers either. So
well, the Brewers and Miami are pretty much the only like non-rivals. I think we see the Mets in New York, and that's like pretty much it. And now it's all like San Diego Diamondbacks. It's all divisional now, and that's just. Fine, I guess, but I also think they thought it was going to be a bigger race towards the end of the season than it is, and I think it's just going to keep separating itself. But like we split a series with the Brewers 2 weeks ago, and then we did drop one, but we did win the series this year. They're not terrible, and I think Yelich is finally starting to warm up. He made some really great plays, put some good balls in play, but he's I think he's kind of in the same situation as Belly, in which his glove is keeping him alive, and then the hitting is starting to come back too. But we'll see.
Is Cody Bellinger's hitting really coming back? He still struggles anything up and in.
It's a hot cold thing. His glove has never faltered. He's definitely saved us some runs in the outfield. I don't know if he's Gold Glove contention or anything like that, but he's definitely worth it to keep him in the lineup, especially when we have the other hitters that we have. He's going to hit in the 8 hole, 9 hole, depending on who's doing catching. But like when he's right, he's so right. It's just so
hot. Did he change his swing again or something?
Probably. Like
needs to.
The thing I've heard about Cody is that he's a little resistant to some types of coaching, and he gets no thoughts all baseball, right? But usually those thoughts are pretty great. I think maybe I don't know if it's not that he doesn't take coaching well so much that it doesn't sink in, which is a very different thing. There's a joke that he's dumb. I don't think he's dumb. I think I think he knows what works for him. And then when it stops working, he still thinks it works for him, and that's not really what's going on. But he's still a good presence on the team. He's still just snatching things out of the heavens, and he's still Cody Bellinger. He's still a decent baseball player. So we'll see.
Yeah, some team will overpay him this offseason.
Maybe. I mean, he's a Boris client, so I don't. Boris clients tend not to stick around on the Dodgers. I'm hoping. Last year he had first of all, he had injuries, major injuries last year. He cracked a leg bone when a stupid guy spiked him, and I have lots of issues with that pitcher. But he got really hot in the postseason. We're kind of hoping that's what's going to happen again. We've seen flashes of it. He's definitely doing better than he did in the previous year. Maybe it just takes him a season to heat up now, which is not great. But, Jock Peterson kind of did the same thing for us. Like, he was a middling hitter, and in the postseason, he was just dongs all day long. So, like, if Cody does that, we'll be happy. And I think either way, we're not probably going to see him when his contract is up in Dodger Blue. But we'll see.
It's reasonable. Any other thoughts about, I guess, any of the divisional standings or anything?
It stays like this that I cursed the the Colorado Rockies. We're gonna ignore that, okay? It stays like these that I cursed the Colorado Rockies for trading away Nolan Arenado to the Cardinals. The NL West needs more competition, and the Cardinals need to be worse. It's that simple.
I curse it most days because I have to hear it from Carson. So.
Yeah. I mean, the Rockies, like, for a long time, their statistics staff was also mowing the lawn, so they've come a long way from that series.
True.
But their owner's a real estate guy. He doesn't give a crap what's on the field as long as people are eating in the restaurants and staying in his hotels and the nightlife. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Coors Field. It's fantastic. It's right in the middle of like a downtown. There's a extremely walkable area around it. There's lots of nightlife. There's lots of restaurants. And as long as that's thriving, I don't think they're going to care ownership is going to particularly care what they're putting on the field. That doesn't mean that there's not people in the organization who don't deeply care, but I think the people who make the financial decisions don't.
They're also hamstrung by potentially the worst GM in baseball. I don't think it's controversial to say that. Possibly the worst GM in my lifetime. Who else would it be? Would it
in baseball?
Dave
I don't think we have competition.
Dave Stewart with the Diamondbacks maybe is the only other person I could think of.
I mean,
Jeff Bridges, he's very bad.
Yeah,
it's not good.
It's bad.
Chris
I mean,
Bryant's
who hired
bad.
him? Who hired him? That's what I'm going to say. It's bad ownership. Yep. Ownership who does not care. Who does not care.
Yeah, I mean, that's always how it goes. You get ownership and, GMs and team owners that just want to play real life games, with players and teams that are supposed to be, good and have fans. But to them, they're just numbers and money. So speaking of terrible owners, we'll jump right into our 7th inning stretch. And so 7th inning stretch, if you're unfamiliar, 7 questions, 7 innings. I will arbitrarily award points. I was also, again, too lazy to find the little thing where I can keep track of the points. So I'm just going to keep track of it by hand, and you guys won't know how many points you have till the end. So we'll kick right off with Art Moreno and his family announced on Tuesday that they will be exploring strategic alternatives, which includes the sale of the team. While the Moreno's official statement didn't directly commit to selling the team, they use the term "now is the time," so it's gonna happen, is what it looks like. The Angels have no secret been bad. A lot of it due to Moreno's hands-on approach to the team and not making great decisions. He's wasted Mike Trout's career pretty much thus far.
Not the only one.
Yeah, not the only problem, but definitely a glaring one, easy one to look at. You have the best player in baseball, probably two of the best players in baseball, and can't even sniff 500. It's a problem. So I guess the question here is, what would selling the team mean for the Angels and both Trout and Ohtani?
I just want to give my thoughts on Moreno really quick. You called him a bad owner. I don't think he deserves that sort of chagrin.
You call him a good owner? I mean, you are an A's fan. So
I wouldn't call him
I would.
We were just talking about a bad owner with the Rockies. I can't remember the name of who owns him. That's a bad sign. Owners should take after George Steinbrenner. In my opinion, he should be the ideal. Because Moreno, he was willing to spend money. He signed Trout to that big contract. He brought in Ohtani. He brought in Rendon. He didn't fail from a lack of trying. And I think that when there's so many owners and teams in baseball who are guilty of not trying, I don't think he's deserving of being lumped in with them.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it's for those reasons. I think it's because he's just a horrible person who's tried to bilk the city of Anaheim out of lots of money, who allowed a pitcher died during his ownership. That is unbelievable that could happen, but it happened during his watch, and he didn't seem to take any sort of culpability at that. There are major issues with women in his organization, major issues. And they are afraid of coming forward because of retaliation. There is just a disgusting culture around the whole team when it comes to the drugs that happen, when it comes to the way women are treated. And I don't care if you're putting, I think it shows you have these big contract players, but you're not getting performance out of them. Albert Pujols, when he came to the Dodgers, immediately woke up and became Albert Pujols again. And he's doing amazing things with the Cardinals and stuff like that. So I think he has, from the top down, created an organization that is toxic and terrible. The joke for a long time was, well, the Angels are where pitching goes to, and then, the horrible thing happened. But no, it doesn't feel like a safe organization. I think Mike Trout and Ohtani are safe because they're the big names, but I think everyone else is at risk for like major injury or just a lack of caring, a lack of decency when it comes to the game. And I brought up kind of the things that he's doing with the city, but like he's done terrible things when it comes to like trying to screw the city out of money. He has removed the team from its environs. Like we kind of joke about the Los Angeles Angels, but he doesn't want to be a part of Anaheim. He doesn't want to be a part of that. And he's removed the team so far from like its local environment. It's insane. And so, yeah, maybe he will pay players big contracts and maybe he'll pay them to keep around. But the environment and the culture that they're brought into is just like, look what happened to Rendon. Like he just, like, or not Rendon. I'm sorry. Brain fart, Hollywood lifestyle guy. Why am I having such a brain fart? Anyway, sorry, but just like we see players get signed and they just like, and I think it has to do with environment. The culture of aggression and just absolute awfulness towards women is enough for me to deem as just an awful owner. So I'm ready for him to go.
Yeah, I was not familiar with all that stuff. I never paid that much attention to the Angels.
Well, they're our neighbors, so we have to pay a little bit of attention.
I'll defer to you on how they really are.
Just from a baseball standpoint, when I think of the Angels in the past 10 years, it's throwing money at problems, but not necessarily in the right places. Mm-hmm. And like the Rendon contract, they needed pitching, and they gave Anthony Rendon $250 million.
It was Rendon. Sorry.
I just don't. I don't think, like Tavi said, I don't think they're a very well-run organization from the top down, and I think that has to reflect on the owner a good amount. They've been terrible with arguably the best player of all time, the best player we've ever seen. For the past 12 years, they've never attempted a complete and true rebuild. They're just throwing money, trying to patch holes, and they're throwing money in the wrong places, in my opinion, as well. So I think it'll be interesting to see, like we just saw the Nationals owner say he intends to sell the team and then ship off a generational talent. And it's a little bit of a different situation because Trout's locked up for such a long time. But it's going to be interesting to see if he gets put on the market potentially.
You mentioned the point about like the Nationals also selling. It'll be interesting to see an East Coast versus West Coast team, which one garners more money, which one sells first, which one. It'll be an interesting case study to see how the two teams parallel or don't parallel.
And the Nationals have fully committed to the rebuild, like 5 years out at least, and
yeah,
the Angels aren't close. They're not close in any sense. And they have so much money tied up in like 3 players.
Yeah. And then like what you said with like they're throwing money at the wrong problems. Like that's also kind of how I saw a lot of those, like the Rendon contract, especially. I'm like, their pitching has not been super good at all recently. So I think that's always been their issue. And then their solution this last offseason was like, oh, Noah Syndergaard, big name, not necessarily big production. Mm-hmm. So I think it's always been an issue. Plus, Moreno's just a piece of garbage to human being. So,
and Syndergaard's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Angels fans are excited that he's not going to be the owner of the team anymore. So, and that if that's how your fan base reacts to that, like if they are like, this is the greatest day in the organization's history because you have intended to sell the team, then you've done something horrifically wrong for years on end. So,
I do have a question regarding that, though. What fan base wouldn't be happy about their owner suddenly selling the team. I think you could count on one hand the amount of fans who wouldn't be happy to see that. Even Yankees fans would be happy to see Hal Steinbrenner sell the team, at least from what I've seen based on Yankees Twitter.
Well, Yankees fans are delusional and mostly dumb, so like it's Yankees deserve nothing, and they need to change their racist policies.
Dude, the Dodgers are happy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
We love
Dodgers
Billy
fans are
Jean.
happy.
We love Magic. We love our ownership team. So
Yeah, like genuinely
part.
the only teams I could think of is like Dodgers,
the Rays,
Mets.
probably.
Mets are still in the sort of honeymoon.
Yeah.
I don't know, Giants. And
Giants fans don't hate the top of the organization. I think they're very indifferent towards them. So
yeah, I've never really seen much in either direction, but those are really the only teams I can. Cardinals maybe too.
The Cardinals, I think, are very happy with their ownership right now, anyway. So
that's 4 that we can really think of.
Yeah. Either way, like I mean, the reaction from not even just Angels fans within like Diamond Digest, who, to be fair, are some of the more more intense fans. Some of them are, but I think as a whole, people were very excited.
I think that the fan base deserves a ownership that's proud to be where they're from.
Yeah.
The Angels started because of just a dream, right?
Yep.
The cowboy came and he wanted a team for so long. He willed this into existence, right? And where it started and where it is now is so vastly different. It's just they deserve an owner who cares about the team and not about developing the real estate around it.
Yeah, that's probably, you want to show, I think something they got to start with is like showing commitment to like, prospects and developing those prospects. And that's something they just really haven't done much of. Unlike another team also out west, and the Seattle Mariners is inning 2 of our 7th inning stretch. We're going to talk about Julio Rodriguez and his massive extension in Seattle. So he signed a historic deal, mostly because of its structure. It is unlike anything we've really ever seen. So it's the deal is 8 years, $120 million guaranteed. Like that's just kind of like the basis of it, but can with options and incentives increase all the way up to 18 years and $470 million. This is from first reported by Jeff Passan. So the Mariners are keeping Julio, who is the guy, but he's also 21 years old. He's just a kid. Like he's young. So do you think this deal changes the market at all with the way we see either deals like structured or like these young superstars continuing to get these big deals? Because like, I mean, it's as long as he doesn't pull a Tatis here, it's going to feel a lot better. But also Tatis still did what he did. But like right now, it seems like Tatis is the exception rather than like the other young guys who signed these long deals. Like Harris just signed one too. Not as massive and long, like 18 years is insane. That contract's going to be an adult by the time it's over. But yeah, just thoughts about the contract in general, how it's going to affect future contracts for young players or just structure of contract.
I mean, I think it's a super. All I know is that his.
All right. All I know is that his account better be getting paid well, given how complicated that all messes.
And I like the structure.
I think it's a really cool structure. I think the Braves are sort of setting this trend where you just wipe out the arbiters early on players you think are superstars, and I mean they have basically their entire infield locked up, aside from Swanson, and they have a center fielder locked up for like the next 8 years. And I think that the base level of this contract is essentially like what they did for Albies or Acuna, where they gave him 8 years, $100 million or whatever. And then if he's the stud they expect him to be, they're going to reward him with the option down the line. And I think it's awesome to see the Mariners going out and spending huge money. They went and got Luis Castillo at the deadline. Seattle baseball's fun, and Julio Rodriguez is a stud, and I really like the contract.
Yeah. The other point I wanted to bring up about Julio is that it's not surprising that they, I think, gave him this sort of leeway.
No, absolutely.
He, for the past Olympics, like played for the Dominican team, and they were basically like let him do that, even though he was already part of the organization. And I think that really showed that A, the trust they had in him as a player, and B, the that extension of goodwill means a lot to the player, and that buys a lot of loyalty from the player. And I think this is a really good relationship between player and team, in which, you know, there's some trust. There's, you know, especially since Tatis just happened, signing a young player can be well. But he did that. He went to the, you know, the Olympics and did really well with the Dominican team, and came back and was still serious about baseball. And I think that probably informed the decision to want to keep him around for a while, because when he was not necessarily, I don't know, under team control sounds gross, but when he was not with the team, even though he's kind of still with the team, he was serious and he was focused, and he was, you know, on a national stage and performed really well. So I think them trusting him to do that and to go and perform at the Olympics and do as well as he did informed this contract a lot of, you're serious, you're going to be here for the long haul, you care about baseball, and we're going to give you this leeway, and we're going to try and pay it back, and that sort of thing. So I think that situation is kind of unique to him, but that's also just kind of how contracts, you already mentioned, like the Braves are doing some, like, you know, offering contracts, and you're right, getting rid of the early guessing in those first couple of years. Will it be a trend that stays? I don't know. But I kind of like it. I like the idea that a team can have a player that they cheer for a long time, those franchise players that keep fans coming back even during the tough years, right? Like you go to the game to see your favorite player, even if maybe they're not going to win. But I mean, that's what's kept Angels fans around, right? You come for Mike Trout, you come for Ohtani. But like showing that commitment isn't just for the player, it's also for the fans. It's saying this is going to be the guy for the next coming year. So I think it's great.
I think Seattle's really doing things right as far as the way they're currently running their organization. It's really hard to dislike the Mariners right now, I feel like, unless you're a fan of a team in the division. And even then, people are like, okay, it's a fun team. They're exciting to watch. Like, and last year, I think it really showed last year at the end of the year, like everyone's rooting for Seattle at the end of the year last year. And
the on-field dancing, like how can you beat like the camaraderie on the field?
Exactly. But yeah, I really, really like the deal for Julio. I think he's also like an absolute stud, like Maddox said. Like he's gonna be the guy in Seattle for years to come. And even if things don't pan out, like 5-6 years down the road, you're still gonna have Julio out in the outfield. So I think it's a good deal for him, a good deal for the Mariners, a good deal for the city of Seattle as a whole. So, but we'll jump from Seattle clear across the country down to Florida in Tampa Bay for inning number 3. Staying on the extension talk, Tyler Glasnow agreed to a 1-year, $25 million extension.
2 years.
I think there was an option for a second year.
I believe there was an option.
It was either an option for a second year or it secured him through both this and next year.
It's one of those two, I believe.
It's $25 million in 2024.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So it wipes his first year of free agency.
Yeah, there it is. That's where it is. Either way, reported by Jeff Passan as well. The question around that is like, so the Rays are gonna, Ray. So we are already thinking about it now. Is Tyler Glasnow going to be a Tampa Bay Ray by the time that even hits? And we're talking about that time next year in 2024.
It's a fair question.
I think the more interesting question is Tyler Glasnow going to be a good pitcher then? Because he's extremely reliant on his fastball. He's at like 60% fastball usage for his career, which is really high, especially in this era for a starting pitcher. Like only someone like Spencer Strider leans on their fastball that much. And he's really dependent on his velocity, even with for like his off-speed stuff, like what makes his curveball so great. It comes in at 80 miles per hour. It would be less special if it came in at like 77. And he's already had some history of injuries. I really don't like saying this because I do love Glasnow. He's very handsome. In addition to being
He's on the
very
60-day right now, so like
yeah,
he's injured
exactly.
right now.
He's only thrown 88 innings this year, something like that. And so he probably won't be a Ray into the future after this contract, but he also might not even be a pitcher in MLB for much longer after this contract ends, because he's going to be 31 when it ends, something like that.
Is he that old? He very well may be. I don't know why I thought he was younger. You're right. He has been around for a few years, but I just thought he was like, I guess at the end of 2024.
He's 29 right now.
Okay, so yeah, yep. I don't know. I just thought he was younger for some reason.
Of course, he could always just age like Verlander.
It's the hair.
It's the hair. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean, we're talking about one of the things that frustrates, I think, me for the Rays fans is that they don't have franchise players, right?
As soon as somebody Franco?
Now they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, but they tend to trade away their stars, right? For younger, for
Diego knows that
cheaper.
Yeah, for younger, cheaper. And I took it as a positive sign that at least they'll have someone familiar to root for the next few years. I don't know. Again, if he maybe doesn't get traded or anything like that, I look at it as I don't know. I want the fans to have someone that they can like follow through their career, but it's in only 2 years. It's a pitcher who's injured. All the points that Jennie made.
They also have Kevin Kiermaier.
For now.
Yeah, what do you mean for now? He's been there since like 2008.
That's true. That is true.
But are they franchise players though? Like, are they?
He's one of the greatest center fielders of all time.
Defensive center fielders. Clarify, he's one of the greatest defensive center fielders of all time.
You're talking to an NL West girl. I don't know. But
he is very. Kiermaier is like that.
No, he's good. But I feels like every time they get excited about somebody, they trade them away. So I don't know. I was just happy to see fans get a really fun to watch player when he's on the field, a really exciting player, and one who definitely knows how to charm an audience. So fun to watch, fun to pay attention to, a good ambassador for the sport, for the team.
Yeah,
I have no idea why I thought he was at like 50 or 40 career, where he's at 22.
Kiermaier?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think like 17 of that's probably defensive.
Yeah,
that
of course.
Been overshot. Either way, Maddox, you're about to say something.
Yeah, I just think the contract is sort of like a leap of faith. I mean, he threw 88 innings in 2021, and he hasn't thrown a pitch in 2022. And I just think that the Rays are a smart organization. So if you're going to bet on anyone to land a leap of faith, it's probably the Rays. And at his height, he was one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball. So I think they're just hoping he comes back from this season healthy and strong, and that he can turn in. I mean, now they have Shane McClanahan, who's a bona fide ace as well. So like if he comes back and he's a good number 2 for them, I mean, the Rays window is never ending. So they're just banking on maybe having a stud number 2 as well for the next 2 years and hoping it pans out for them.
With the way they can develop relievers, McClanahan, Glasnow, and then their bull postseason is a very scary proposition.
Yeah,
they also have Baz.
Right, 2 more years of Shane Baz development. Right.
They've got the Rays no pitching, so we'll see how it goes moving forward with that. I don't know, to be fair, Tavi said here, like being an NL West fan, like I don't see a ton of the Rays just because like they're never playing the Giants. But that will all change next season because in number 4, we have the MLB release the season schedule for next year. And per the collective bargaining agreement that was agreed to in March, we're going to start seeing every team playing everybody, which I think is huge. I think it's the only positive, this might be an exaggeration. The only positive thing Manfred's done for the game of baseball, like that's probably an absurd hyperbole of sorts, but like it doesn't feel absurd enough to not say it anyway. But yeah, so every team's playing everyone. I think it's every year they're going to flip flop like cities. Those teams you only see in once or twice. The only exceptions being you have like the interleague rivalries, like the Subway Series, the Bay Bridge Series. Pirates Tigers was listed on here. I didn't know that was a rivalry.
Yep.
Okay, well,
it's both. It's a little sad lately, but it is very much.
I didn't know. All right, yeah, I didn't know.
And that goes back like a century. Like that is a
That
long-standing rivalry. Yeah.
Okay,
All right, Tavi,
fair.
quit punching down.
But yeah, either way, but yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think it's supposed to be 1 3-game series against each opponent, except for those rivalry games. We get 2 2-game series. I think 1 home, 1 away. I think that's kind of how, at least I'm pretty sure that's how the A's and Giants have done it for years.
It is.
Like, I don't know about.
It might have been. It changes. I think it might change between 2 and 3-game series every once in a while.
I think it does. Either way, though, I think it's always
it's very similar. Yeah.
I hate 2-game series. I think it messes with players. I think it's a lot of travel. I think the schedule is unfair on the Mariners quite a bit because they have to travel the most. But I am excited to see some of those games happen. However, the way I do not care about some of these matchups is just like, okay, on the whole, I like it. In practice, it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna play them. All right, we're gonna spend 2 days like at the ass end of the country, and then move on to another city, and then move on to another city, and then move on to another. I don't know. I don't know if the practicalities of that are something I actually like for the players.
That's fair.
I mean, how much more mileage does this really put on them? Because it's not like there are cities
on the Mariners.
Does it though?
Oh yeah.
Hold on though, because how many? It's not like Seattle's really the only city that's exclusive to the AL or exclusive to either league. Really, every other major city has both an AL and NL team. Chicago, New York, I guess Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's not a major city.
Well, but they're a team that's. And it's a relatively.
The Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, Rockies, like the
There's
NL
a lot of
West,
standalone seasons.
Yeah.
Like teams. I'd call Denver a much more prominent city than Milwaukee. Like either way, like I understand your point you're trying to make here, though. Like
I'm excited to see Yankees Dodgers because that's also a rivalry that's been around for a century. But
this makes me feel very old man. But I just absolutely despise it. It's like, what's the point of having the American League and National League now? Like, there's nothing differentiating them at this point. It's just like the NBA having the Eastern and Western Conference. In fact, it makes less sense than the NBA having an Eastern and Western Conference because it doesn't reduce on travel time or costs. One of my favorite things about baseball was genuinely there was a difference between the American League and the National League. With the DH, they both had different sort of vibes. The National League more historical sort of feel with a lot of their franchises being some of the oldest in baseball. But now that's all gone, and it's just basically the AFC and the NFC alike in the NFL. It's lame, it's boring, it takes out some of the flavor of baseball. And like teams still played interleague games. It's not like they didn't exist at all. They just happened at a much smaller scale. I really just do not like this at all. I think it removes some of the magic of the sport, removes some of the magic of the playoffs. Don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think players are going to like it less when they see the practicality of traveling all around the country significantly more. Again, there's going to be there's series that I am excited for, and there are series that I don't care if we play them or not. Like,
woohoo, Brewers Rangers.
I think that's like a perfect example. Like that was such a good example. Oh, can't wait to go watch, Pittsburgh and Kansas City,
Hey, they probably had some good playoff
Probably.
matchups in
You
the
get the
70s.
point. Those are
But no,
bad
they
teams.
didn't. They didn't ever match up in the 70s because they're in
Yeah.
different leagues and they never
I'm
got a
wondering-
World Series at the same time as each other.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is like the answer towards, or an attempt at answering the idea that like some teams always win the division and some teams always lose the division. Like I kind of like propose that they should shake up the divisions a little bit, just to
Increasing
like,
variance.
yeah, but I mean, I think this is kind of how you do that without getting rid of those divisions. But I don't know. Again, I'm 50-50 on it.
It also makes division games matter less, which is something I very much like.
There's also
do
less
not
of
like.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes them less common. It reduces the fire of intensity between teams. I absolutely do not like Seattle, Astros, Angels, Rangers. Who cares? But I genuinely do not like those teams. I get a frown whenever I see that we're playing them, and it's because of that fire that division games bring. And I think you can't really get rid of that because that's a key component of all sports. And
Well, the Dodgers schedule is the Mets and then all division games. And in this year, it's not going to be that exciting, but last year would have been crazy exciting.
Well, it would have been, how much more exciting would it really have been with how the
between
Dodgers
the
past
Giants and the Dodgers last year.
Yeah.
That was intense. That was really intense. It was
But I
neck
mean,
and neck the whole time.
But I mean, the Dodgers have been so good for so long that really there's only so much variance you can throw in with how good they've been.
Right. That's why I think this is an attempt to kind of shake up the divisions without actually shaking up the divisions.
I sort of think it's Manfred's and his team of goons, just their effort to grow the game a little bit more and try and make it more marketable. I think it's a good thing in that sense. Kids are going to be able to see their favorite players come to town more often if they root for out-of-town teams. You're going to get the best teams in baseball playing against each other every year, no matter what. Which I think is a great thing for the sport. But then also, like Jennie said, who really cares about Brewers Rangers? So I think that the one thing I really loved about it is that everyone plays the same time on opening day. Like they're making Memorial Day a big thing. They have a bunch, like the crosstown rivalries are great. I think they're at least making an effort to market the game a little bit better, which is more than could be said in the past. Everyone plays on game 162. So I thought there were some good things about it. I think the travel is going to suck for sure on the players, but I think at least they're trying to do something good, which is more than they've done for a long time. Absolutely. And I think the scheduling is also really important because like those division rivalries are so important to like old baseball fans. And if you're going to play 5 less of those games, maybe don't have the Mets and Braves play 11 of their 14 games in May. Throw them at the end of September and make those division rivalries like you can at least like make those the intense end of the season, postseason stretch, and still keep those rivalries fresh as well.
2 things. First off, Maddox, I don't appreciate you calling me old. Secondly, this does. All right, I'm just going to bring this up. Remember how intense the Astros-Dodgers games these past 2 years have been because of the hatred between them? Mm-hmm. Having less
like
often,
different reasons,
but there are still reasons.
Yeah, fair.
There's something that should be considered. I just do not get the point of it. Yes, it increases marketability of players, but that's really sort of reason I can see. And in the net run, I think it makes divisions less intense, which I think is an overall net negative for the sport because a lot of intense rivalries is what keeps what keeps fans invested. Like ask a Mets fan who's 30, 40 years old, their opinion on the Braves, and who was the switch hitting third baseman? I should know his name.
Chipper
Was it that
Jones.
long? Yes. Ask them their opinion on Chipper
There's
Jones.
no way.
Well,
you
he has
forgot
opinions
it.
for other reasons now too.
Well,
so-
yeah.
You don't
like,
have to be 30 to dislike Chipper Jones.
You do not.
But you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
The point being, I don't know. I think it's I like the idea. I just think there will be growing pains for sure. The travel is going to have to be something they have to figure out. If that means teams invest more for better travel for their players, I think that might be ultimately a net positive. Do I think teams like the A's will cut those corners? Yes. But we'll see.
You know what I didn't look at? Because there's so many more 2 series games, that means a lot more day games and getaway games. I wonder if that's going to affect viewership, because getaway game, like today we had breakfast baseball. We had a 9 o'clock
I know,
game.
right?
I love breakfast baseball. On
Yeah,
weekends.
fine, but like if you're working a 9 to 5, and I'm lucky my employer doesn't care, so I listen to the games on the radio, but like you're gonna miss a lot more games if there's a lot more getaway games like that. I don't know if maybe they've adjusted the schedule for that, but that impacts travel. That impacts a lot of things.
Yeah, today every game except for one started at latest at 3 p.m. for me.
Yeah, East
And
Coast
it
baseball.
sucks.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's ultimately going to be good. I think as soon as they figure it all out. It also could be gone the next CBA. We'll see what happens.
I do
But,
hope it is. It's not eating. I'm grouchy, but
yeah. Anyway, we'll move on from
feels like
that. Though.
I just think about it. Yeah.
No, get your point in. Get your point in.
Well, look at the NBA and the NFL. There are less overall rivalries. There are still some very intense ones like Saints Falcons, Cowboys Eagles, but there are less overall compared to like baseball. Baseball it's arguably I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I don't want to say most intense, but there's a level of how much
There's century-old rivalries that the other leagues can't match.
Well,
much.
that, and just it stays with you longer when you see these guys so often compared to like the NBA and the NFL, who there's less overall crossover between the teams as much. And I think that's something that's very special about baseball, and I think that's something that you shouldn't really tamper with.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of tampering, we're gonna go. That was the perfect word.
Segue.
To the next inning here. So we got some more updates, news from the Astros cheating scandal with Jeff
Lunau.
Thank you, Lunau. I think. And according to Evan Drellich of The Athletic, deleted data from his phone during MLB's investigation on the team's sign stealing scandal. Interestingly enough, Lunau claimed he was removing sensitive photos of his wife, which is the lamest excuse I think I've heard, because I doubt it's true. But there's a chance it is. I don't know. Either way, how does this make it for Lunau's possible reintroduction to baseball? Is it impossible now? And also, what's any better excuse? Let's get some better excuses for that too. And also, while you guys start talking about that, I'll be right back. So I have to go grab something real quick.
I just want to get this out of the way. Who cares? I'm tired of the Astros scandal stuff, and I'm the one most qualified to say that because I share a division with them. I just don't care anymore about the Astros. I don't want to hear fans bring it up. I don't want to hear people talking about it. I am completely over it, and I just want to be rid of it. I want MLB to just finally wash its hands of all of this and not have to bring it up anymore.
Yeah, but Major League Baseball designed it this way. Manfred literally said the shame of it will be the punishment, right? So, like, had they punished them, had they done some sort of official censure,
feel like I'm being punished when I have to see so many people bring it up over and over and over again regarding the team. And there's so many good players on the Astros, and they all get overlooked for lol Astros cheaters. And go pull up my Twitter back when that news broke. I was going scorched earth on shit, and I just have no care about it 2-3 years later. No, why did I think it was 3 years later? It's been 1 or 2 years. I just don't care anymore.
2019 was when it broke. I mean, you're that's a totally valid opinion, but like that's where, you know, Manfred and Major League Baseball left the situation was, well, the shame of it will be enough. So there's going to be shame for the rest of their life. Yeah. Right. It was more than badly bungled. Right. And as far as Lunau in the pictures, like if it really was pictures of his wife, I absolutely respect that, because no one gets to see those except who she chooses to show them to. Right.
Exactly.
If that's real, fucking respect for that. You know, good. If he's using that as an excuse, you man, like, like don't.
It does throw her under the bus a bit.
It does. Well, I mean, everybody gets. I mean, I'm not saying everybody has naughty pictures, but naughty pictures exist, and you get to choose who you show them to, right?
He said they weren't even of naughty pictures; it was of her giving birth.
Yeah,
which is, I would argue,
something you should respect.
Sure,
I know. I was going to say that's arguably even more intimate.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah,
that's arguably even more personal.
So in that case, he maybe should have. If that was what happened, he should have gone to an executive and say, hey, I have these things on my phone. Please allow me to delete them. And if they say no, then you go ahead and do it. But if you go ahead and be like, hey, I have some sensitive photos of my wife or of a family member or of, I mean, even honestly, like even if it's your kids, you should be allowed to take that off. Now, if you have a trusted person who stands over your shoulder while you do that, you know, I don't know. That's a very delicate situation, but like, yes, no one in Major League Baseball deserved to see those photos. If that's what the real situation was, that's true.
Who does MLB think it is? The NSA?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
phones fall out of pockets all over the place, but
then you get 1-game suspensions.
But as far as should Lunau be back, no, he shouldn't.
Drelich's article said a person with knowledge of the investigation also said Lunau told the MLB he hadn't deleted anything else on the phone, yet when the league looked at hex of the SMS database, MLB also found traces of 9 messages between Lunau and Kosh Lesser from March and August of 2019, a person with knowledge of the investigation said.
Yeah, so fuck him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also want to bring this up. If he did delete stuff saying that, like, hey, let's cheat, let's do it. Who cares? Whose opinion is that going to change? Everybody hates the Astros already. What's it going to do? Everybody already wants to run them from town and make MLB a 2019 league. So, like, I don't see the point of it even being news anymore. Everybody already Astros.
I mean,
I do think it's worth pointing out. Drellich brought this up as he's releasing a book about the Astros cheating scandal.
Well, yeah, obviously, like it's yeah, but I mean, if anything, I think it's
excellent point.
It's just a big marketing scheme. Granted, I mean, it worked. We're talking about it now, but
I am gonna buy the book.
Yeah. Either way, I mean. If it's not an excuse, like yes, absolutely, that's the correct thing to do. But it just seems like such like, oh yeah, this seems like a excuse I came up like, you know, like it doesn't seem genuine.
Also, let's talk about why you should have a work phone and a private phone when you're
that also like doesn't every other like high-ranking executive ever have like probably minimum 2-3 phones probably, but.
Which maybe that's why he texted on the private phone, because it was naughty stuff that was about the cheating. I mean, who knows? But like, still, like that's why separation of work and private is incredibly important.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I just think, like, like I was very much on the same side as if it is genuinely true. Yeah, yes, I think that's the correct thing to do. Do I think it's genuinely true? Probably not. But
I think there's a kernel of truth.
Maybe there might be. And so that's the problem, because I can't feel like I can fully lean into like, yeah, you're the like it's just worse, because like there's a chance, like a non-zero chance that it is true. But either way, I don't know.
Diego, you talked about our thoughts on him being a GM again. Like, I don't care if he is or not. I really don't feel like what he did is any worse than what other teams potentially did. At this point, I'm just tired of cheating scandals. I hope another scandal comes up so we can all forget it.
I mean, that's also a toxic environment that happens. I mean,
Oh,
there was
absolutely.
there
Yeah,
was-
the Astros did have some bad stuff going down around that. So
Yeah.
yes, that is
with
a
the
good
Sports
point.
Illustrated, right? So it wasn't just the
Mhm.
cheating scandal. There were other aspects of his tenure
Yes,
that were just terrible.
Yes,
Correct.
the cheating scandal does not affect my opinion on whether or not he should be a GM again or not.
Yeah,
I'm
correct.
just, I think you're pretty foolish if you don't think that other teams were also trying to steal signs and gain illicit advantages in other ways.
Well, other teams quite literally got actual punishment for it too. So I mean,
Yeah.
Did they?
I mean, Alex Cora got
still steal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at like the Braves, was the Braves international sign stealing, or not international, the bonuses, the international bonuses, right?
yeah, the slot
Whole
bonuses.
people were banned from baseball forever. Like at least one person was banned from baseball permanently. I think another one got either a 1 or 2 year suspension, and then the Braves organization itself was punished in its signings, and it couldn't sign and had a limited pool, and I can't remember the exact details. That was at Manfred's behest, and that just really illustrates the difference between a baseball crime that hurts other clubs and a baseball crime that puts butts in seats.
No, yeah, I think that's a fantastic way of putting it there. So
I want to add another thing. It's a baseball thing that hurts other teams' financials, the signing
Honestly.
stuff, but the sign stealing didn't really hurt other teams' financials. So I think that's another good way to.
It ruined people's careers too, but
yeah, that I mean, I think it definitely did, and unless like obvious way, but definitely did.
I mean,
I would say.
Winning a World Series, it increases the value of the club, right?
You can profit off that forever.
Yeah. The amount of jump that the Dodgers winning that World Series versus the Astros winning that World Series in value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's.
Sorry, for those of you at home, I was doing dumb art stuff.
For those of you who listen to our exclusive audio version of this, you should check out our visual one. There's a lot of visual effects that happen.
It was so informative.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of like that I forgot what my point was. I was going to make here.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's fine. I'm trying to get. Oh yeah, the winning means a lot to everyone, no matter what it is. Whether that be your favorite team, like the minor league teams, even some like the River Cats won a AAA championship a couple years ago. The Giants AAA affiliates, and I was stoked. Like it doesn't matter who it is. If it's a team that has your rooting interest, like a player, you want them to win. And so, speaking of teams having your favorite players, the World Baseball Classic coming up here. The Team USA has this is also inning 6 if you hadn't caught on by that point. The World Baseball Classic is coming up here, very fast approaching, very, very exciting. Team USA has very much been very extremely public about the players they're having. They announced all their coaches here. I'll run through them real quick. So the coaching staff was announced on Tuesday with bench coach Jerry Manuel, pitching coach Andy Pettit, hitting coach Ken Griffey Jr. So big names. First base coach Lou Collier, third base coach Dino
Abel. He's a
There
Dodger.
Sorry. And then bullpen coach Dave Righetti. So that's just like the coaches. Those are some names. And so clearly Team USA is all in, which is.
And you haven't even got to the actual players.
Oh, I will get to the players in a second. Yeah, but they're all in, which has been like their tagline thing, which is honestly fun. I like it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're all in, and Team USA has they have a lineup now. After their latest edition of Tim Anderson committing early in this week, he joins. So Tim Anderson at short, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, Pete Alonso, Paul Goldschmidt, Trevor Story, which is somehow the least exciting name on this list, Bryce Harper, Nolan Arenado, JT Realmuto, and Cedric Mullins on the Team USA.
It's like the
for World
best
Baseball
fantasy
Classic.
team I've ever heard of. I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's an exciting. That's an exciting team. Those are like stars of the games, whether like and Trevor Story. So like it's these are guys people want to see and Trevor Story. So it's exciting. Like but so just based off the talent in that team alone, and plus we'll get more. We haven't even got to the pitching yet.
Or
Like,
the bench or anything. Yeah. So
yeah, or the bench. I guess a
there
couple
was
of those
some
guys will end up on the
overlap.
bench. Yeah, a couple of those
Yeah,
guys
that's
will
true.
end
That's
up on
true.
the bench or whatever. But since we know we basically have a starting nine for this team, and it's very, very good. Do we think that the U.S. may have the best chance of winning, considering they are all in? These players have bought in this early on into the World Baseball Classic. Who do you think is the favorite here? Is it the U.S.? Is it someone else? I don't think it's the U.S. for what it's worth, but
I mean, we haven't really heard much from other teams yet, have we?
no.
About who's
I
playing
think
for who?
player-wise, I don't think there's anyone. I don't think anyone's really committed to anywhere else.
Right.
Not that I can think of.
But
I know.
we do know who hypothetically could commit. We could create a hypothetical best team for like the Dominican Republic and what.
There are hypothetical teams for every country. I've seen a ton of them. I'm very.
I mean, I think the DR is a strong. I mean, they did.
Mhm.
You honestly, you might could look at the Olympic standings since we talked about Julio Rodriguez
World
being the Olympics.
Baseball,
He might pitch in the World Baseball Classic for the DR, but like it.
I imagine he would.
So yeah, I'm excited. I think Team USA is going to win it?
It's baseball. Probably not.
It is baseball. So, but it's baseball. Anything can happen.
Right.
So,
Are they playing in Miami too?
Yeah, Miami and Arizona. There was a second.
Yeah, they have like multiple stadiums instead of like Miami,
Yeah.
Arizona. I think San Diego or
Yeah,
LA.
San Diego I think also has one. But yeah,
And
either
then
way,
somewhere else, but I don't know where.
I think
like
no,
Atlanta.
There's no way it's Denver. There's no way it's Denver.
I think I think they might have one on the. Well, Florida doesn't really count as the East Coast. I consider it more the South than the East. I really think it might be Atlanta, but it would be weird if they had two so close to each other on the southern part of the USA.
Oh wow, it's Taichung, Tokyo, Phoenix, and Miami. So
there we go.
It is much more spread out than that. Yeah.
I think that's only for like the group stages for like all the Asian countries that they're playing.
To make it fair on travel wise, yeah.
Exciting, nonetheless.
Very exciting.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about it. I'm so excited.
There's a lot of players I'm excited to see play with each other. Like, I don't know. The All-Star game this year was a little like, because no one's gonna go full out.
But people are going out all out.
But people will go all out for the World Baseball Classic, and seeing like some of these players on the same team really going for it is going to be very exciting.
Team USA and all the talent plus Trevor Story is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Like,
this is very good for the culture of baseball. You guys are take a step back from looking at the on-field aspect of it. Just think about how really special it is that we have this sort of tournament, sort of moment for not just MLB, but for the entire world of baseball to celebrate. To me, it's very reminiscent of the Olympics with hockey, and all the Team Canada, Team USA, Team Finland. How special that is for, like, NHL stops its entire league for hockey in the Olympics. And I think that the World Baseball Classic can be that for baseball, for MLB. I also think it's very cool that we have so many top American names committing already, because past USA teams, they've been good, but they haven't been like an all-star team. Like,
this is an all-star team, then some.
Yeah, like, well, Adam Jones is a legend for the catch he made, but was he really the best center fielder, American center
at the time?
Fielder?
He was up there.
That I think he was on the downward trend.
Respect Adam Jones.
His peak had passed.
Well, I think it's exciting that it's an actual World Series. Like, it is the whole world.
Yes.
And baseball playing countries. It is everyone, the whole world coming together. The world of baseball coming together, which I think that'll do more than I think the London games or the Australian games or the those sort of
this
things.
is going to be bigger than the Olympics ever were for baseball.
Correct.
Yeah, and I can't wait for like 2036 when Czechoslovakia, or not Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic crashes the party. Because if you've paid attention to the World Baseball whatever committee, they're the baseball FIFA basically, they've been on the rise.
Dude, there are African teams popping up all over the place, especially
Yeah.
women's African teams, which is very
Mhm.
exciting.
exciting.
I follow quite a few of them on Twitter, and it's really, really exciting to see these women just like thrive. And I can't imagine how hot it is to play. I spent a small amount of time in Ghana, and I did not stop sweating the whole time. So like playing baseball in the sun, and it's going to be interesting. But it's becoming a more global game, which is really exciting.
I think it's great that, I mean, this Team USA team has had trouble getting the top talent to commit to it in the past, and the roster you just read off has like 4 or 5 perennial MVP candidates on it.
Yep.
And not only that, like Mookie Betts, one of the most exciting, most marketable players in baseball. He's just a joy to watch. And, you know, like they have not only the best players, but some of the more exciting players and more marketable players as well. Bryce Harper, Tim Anderson,
and also Trevor Story.
Right, and also Trevor Story. And I think
somebody's got to be the heel. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if we see like the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico draw to their teams like they have in the past, we're gonna get superstars going against superstars for the majority of this tournament, which is going to be fantastic.
I didn't even realize we could see Shohei Ohtani and a bunch of other NPB All-Stars. They could put up a real good fight. I really think they could make a run, especially with Ohtani.
Japan, like South
them.
Korea, absolutely can be putting up like what most of the Western world would probably consider upsets.
Yeah,
they probably think they're the favorites, which honestly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of seeing Ohtani lead Japan to
that'd be so cool.
It would be so cool. It excites me. Just the thought of it excites me, gets me riled up.
We could get Ohtani versus Mike Trout.
We could.
Yeah,
we absolutely could.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think if I'm picking a country, I'm picking the Dominican Republic.
DR, yeah. Especially if they get Julio.
Yeah, especially they've just got such an insane pool of talent. But if you want like a sleeper pick, I think Japan's a fantastic pick.
Yeah, a lot of good young pitchers in Japan right now.
Oh yeah, a lot of good young players.
True.
In Japan, South Korea, like Australia, Canada can make some noise. They've got some talented players.
Yeah.
Like Israel's got some talent. Like,
I just want to say how special it is that we can go on and on and on about this when really like even in the previous World Baseball Classics, they never really felt this special, but this upcoming one feels like it really could be incredible.
I wonder if it's well, I was just saying, I wonder
very
if
well
having...
is going to be the best WBC of all time. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I was just thinking, I think having the pandemic in a way has really put in perspective all of baseball. Also, we got to see a lot more Korean baseball, Japanese baseball, because that was the only baseball being played for a while. So, I mean, and not that American audiences are the only ones that matter, but like I think it's an easier sell when we are at least a little more familiar with it's an easier buy-in, and maybe that's why we saw more big name players commit, maybe not, but I think we're gonna see much more participation of American audiences and even Canadian audiences and other people Western who maybe countries. Are more focused on Major League Baseball now have a more global perspective of the game and now understand it more and have a lot more respect for it, I think, too.
Yeah.
Which, didn't mean they didn't deserve it before, but now they have it. Yeah. And I think it's right to capitalize on it. Not in a capitalist way, but in a yay world way.
In a way that's like, this is great for everybody.
Yes.
This is very like long-term, very big picture, but imagine if the World Baseball Classic can somehow springboard baseball into sort of a system, sort of like football, not American, but international, sort of with all the different leagues and all sort of being on the same equal level footing, players transferring between them and being stars in all of them. I think that could that
I think it
it's
very
not
well
going to
could
happen
happen.
for like 50 years, but I think we could be on like at least the very beginning of the road to that.
We're on a path. I think that could definitely lead there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think our World Series winners could absolutely play and like have an international tournament that plays in November
Mhm.
or in December.
Somewhere
Maybe.
where it's not going to be freezing or raining or something.
Yeah, it's always sunny in Los Angeles.
Tokyo Dome.
Yeah,
Also,
there's covered dome. There's covered arenas, covered stadiums all over the world.
Everywhere.
And
yeah,
not to
just don't
mention
make
that
them
you
play in Tampa.
well, and
Milwaukee.
not to mention, the field was wonky, but like, the London games, they were able to set up a baseball field. It had hella
It had.
the foul territory on one side is like the size of Texas, but
It's
like
just Oakland, you know.
yeah, but
You
I
say that
think
like it's a bad thing.
no,
It's not.
no. Hey, I
I mean-
mean that's why Dodger Stadium was such a pitcher's park forever. It used to have a massive foul territories, but yeah, I think it's possible we start seeing some of these like converted ball fields playing in different areas, and why not? Let's do it.
It would just be cool. It's just I get very giddy when I think about it and talk about it because it's just so cool. And like, I mean, as someone who's also like clearly very proud of like my heritage and all that, I root for Team Mexico. I don't expect them to win, but I'm excited to be able to root for like my country. And so it's just fun.
Alejandro Kirk's going to be special.
Alejandro Kirk is that guy. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
He's got that
Urias has
dog in him.
been pretty great for us, so
yeah.
maybe he'll play.
It's a lot of fun. It's exciting. It's awesome. And like there's a lot of international stuff going on. They just announced what was it, the Korean series this last week?
Yeah, they're going to be playing. MLB is going to be playing an exhibition series against Korean baseball teams, sort of similar to. I know that
like the old Japan series, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Similar. I didn't get to read into it too much because, frankly, I forgot about it until about 5 seconds ago. But
yeah. I'm very excited for a potential like new global era of baseball.
Same, absolutely same. There's a lot that can be done with it. A lot of it's just going to be fun. It's going to be awesome to see. Awesome to watch all these players like set new milestones, set new like awesome accomplishments, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, moving on to our seventh and final inning here. Speaking of those milestones and wild accomplishments, we've seen a lot of things that we are potentially on track for in these last few weeks of the season here. And so of this list, which I have given them previously, because last week I didn't give anyone anything previously, they have seen this list for at least an hour. Rank these things what you think will be most likely to happen, like top down. Judge breaks the American League. Payton put non-tainted home run record in here. Judge does that. Pujols hits 700. Goldschmidt wins the Triple Crown, NL Triple Crown. The Mariners break their postseason drought. 4 things went from least likely to happen to, or most likely to happen to least likely to happen. Like, how do we feel? What are we ranking these at?
I think we can all agree that Mariners breaking the postseason drought. It's going to happen. They're already second in the wild card spot. They already have another room of error to drop. I don't think that both Toronto and Baltimore passes them. I think Baltimore can make it, but I don't think that both Toronto and Baltimore are going to pass the Mariners.
Yeah. Also, Payton did put non-tainted. I do want there's clarification there.
Air quotes.
Yeah, he did put is in quotations. Sorry, Payton.
Yeah, I agree with you,
agree?
Jenny.
Yeah.
I think the Mariners making the postseason is definitely the most likely.
I also agree with that.
Second most likely, I think I'm gonna have to go with Aaron Judge. Pujols cannot hit right-handed pitching. He can't do it, and it's gonna come down to do they face enough left-handed pitching over the next month. And the Cardinals have some black magic going as usual, so I'd probably put that third because Triple Crowns are just nearly impossible to win. And Goldschmidt has so many people around him in all the categories. He's only really running away with batting average.
It's batting average, home runs, and RBI.
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 Yes.
The homer
RBI.
stats.
He's 2 behind Schwarber and homers and tied with Alonso and RBIs, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of he's gonna have to have a really good last couple of weeks. Granted, he's had a very good season.
Yeah,
Carson will tell you that every day of the week.
he's gonna win the MVP.
So
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
disagree with you quite strongly, Maddox, on everything else. I think Pujols hitting 700 is the second most likely, and I think it's actually quite close to the Mariners possibly. Because here's the thing. I do not believe that Pujols is going to walk away at the end of the season if he's within like 2 or 3 home runs. If you saw him, how he played in Los Angeles, in Anaheim, if he played through that, he genuinely deeply loves the game. I don't think anybody can doubt that at this point. And, you know, we've all felt what it's like to have to walk away from the game of baseball. It's very hard to do. And when you're that close to such a special milestone, he would be just the 4th player all time to hit 700 home runs. I think that if he just needs a few more to hit that special mark, I do think he comes back for another season.
If he comes back,
another,
that
6 games.
goes way up my list. I was just assuming.
Yeah, this is kind of under
What's he
the
at right now?
assumption.
Has he hit 370 yet? Where is he at right now?
693.
Yeah,
693.
he's close,
Yeah,
and he's been like also like prime Pujols the last week.
They faced a lot of bad lefties in the last week.
Yeah, and so,
I also think you have to consider the old sort of Derek Jeter final All-Star game thing. I think people are going to try and help. Yeah, I think people are going to try and help him get to that because, I mean, he's such a special player.
Yeah,
you
it
can
is.
try, but it doesn't mean it's going to work.
Take a look at the
the home run derby fixed his swing. The home run derby fixed his swing. He's going to do it.
Well, they're playing Cincinnati, Chicago, Washington, Pittsburgh. I think he might do it. This is a
if he's gonna do it, that's the exact lineup you want.
So Chicago, Washington, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, San Diego, Dodgers, Brewers, Pittsburgh, and they have a 5-game series against Pittsburgh to close out the season.
He might do it.
Please let Pujols get a start against Patrick Corbin.
He just 4-homer game against Patrick Corbin.
Yeah.
I mean, did they start him at DH, or do they start him at DH against every lefty, and then rotating him in when a lefty reliever comes in, maybe like a lot of pinch hitting. I mean, that's kind of been. I feel like I haven't been watching super closely, but he has been coming in like that.
That's how it's been.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah. So if they continue doing that, especially with some of the bullpens that are coming up, I think he's
very well.
And it's the time of the year where you're going to be getting those.
The ball's going to start flying.
And those AAA relievers getting called up as rosters still expand, don't they? Yeah.
Only a couple slots, but
not the whole 40.
But also injury call-ups and stuff like that.
I missed the 40.
As the season starts
the season.
Yeah.
Yep. But I don't know. I didn't know who the Cardinals played. I think I might like that a lot more. I think I might like Pujols.
That was my caveat. Is like, are they going against like division? They're not really.
Playing in Cincinnati is going to help, and Washington too. That's it's not a bad park to hit.
But yeah, I guess so. We've got Mariners 1, Pujols 2. That's what it sounds like. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
I convinced them.
I mean, Judge needs 14 to get to 63. And he's going to get probably more than double the at-bats Pujols does.
Yeah.
Who the Yankees play? What's their? I mean,
just about
how many home games do they have too? I think that's also.
Let me
straight up. I don't think it matters who he plays and how many home games he gets. I don't think he's getting to it. He was going to break it.
That's extremely reasonable, but also I'd like to know.
They're playing Tampa Bay a lot. Let's see. So Tampa Bay, Toronto, Mets, Oakland, which I'm going to that series. I'm excited. But that is
shut him down this series.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong week. Sorry. Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Boston, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Boston, Toronto, Baltimore, Texas, and I'm going to a Mets game. Oops, sorry.
Either way,
Briefly-
that's not.
Briefly confused.
It's not the
Right.
easiest. That's not the easiest.
It's
like,
not an easy
teams.
schedule. No.
No.
And it looks like they have a doubleheader against the Rangers at that last.
Okay.
The Rangers are.
Yeah,
I think I think I would slot Goldschmidt above Judge, honestly,
I think so.
because
for the record,
he
I'm the
is
guy.
very, very close. Like, it wouldn't even take a particularly hot month to
But you've got
take the
you've got
RBIs.
several good starters and bullpens in his way. So
And if
Yeah,
any
but
of the
he's
people, other people get hot,
Yeah,
like,
it's all dependent
mean,
on others.
he's got to out
Yeah.
Homer Schwarber, out RBI Alonso, and also keep hitting 335.
Yeah, and
Oh,
he's
we've
done
switched
that
goals
this
to it now.
season. And he's done that this
Right.
season. He only needs to do it for one more month.
I mean, Aaron
his-
Judge
his-
has hit 50 home runs. He only needs to do that for one more month. I think you can make the same argument.
Yeah,
How many homers
he's
has
been-
he averaged a month?
He's hit 49 home
at
runs,
least 2,
probably more.
guaranteed, probably. I mean, yeah, if you go month by month, it's going to be like, I'd imagine. I feel like he was really hot to start the year. I feel like, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
he's cooled down recently. And he got shut
Yeah.
down by the elite A's pitching, obviously.
Paul Blackburn,
Not even Paul Blackburn, Adam Oller,
AJ
and
Puck.
Adrian Martinez. Not even
I
AJ
know-
Puck.
I
He's
know,
been bad.
I know 4 A's pitchers. Like Jimenez was on my fantasy team, and he just got put on the 60-day. So
Yeah, he's been getting hurt a lot. But
yeah, I
man,
know.
Oller and Martinez, they have them Yankees boys in hell. I'm fighting for their lives. They were like 1-40 at some point between these last 2 games.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think I like Goldschmidt better than Judge.
Yeah. me too.
that's really hard.
It is. That's a tough. I like for the
Yeah.
record. I don't think either happens.
I was about
But-
to say.
Like if one were to happen, I'd rather Judge do it. Also, like then Goldschmidt hit the Triple Crown because Carson
I think
would then
it's-
become extremely insufferable.
I think it's
But-
coin flip if Goldschmidt wins the Triple Crown. Legitimately, I think it's that close.
No, yeah, it certainly
might-
feels tough.
It might come down to the fact that the Yankees have a harder schedule than the Cardinals.
No, absolutely. Like the Cardinals don't have a tough schedule at the end here, so it can be very easy for Goldie to rack up these home runs, these RBIs, keep up this. He'll probably face like a half decent amount of position players. Like honestly,
Is Pujols just DHing? Is he playing any first? I mean, I'm guessing not with Goldschmidt.
I think he
but
plays
is
a little bit of first. Not a
Yeah,
lot.
like
I was also wondering what that distribution would look like because that's 2 players, not
Probably
necessarily
like
vying for the
95-5.
same thing, but kind of vying for the same spot on the field. Of
I'll look
course,
it
the
up.
DH absolutely changes things, but
I'll do a little bit of research real quick.
wonder what how that shakes out.
Yeah, we'll see.
just stick him in left field, Pujols.
He used to. Beginning of his career, he was a utility guy. Believe
His
it or
knees are different.
No, yeah, now
Knees and
now-
ankles.
From
Knees
the
and
legs
ankles.
down.
Yeah,
He's still got the power legs. He does not have the speed legs.
He has appeared defensively in 15 games this season.
Okay, so they're not
14 of them at first base, 1 as a pitcher.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that.
Yes, so do I.
So not actually vying for the same spot, just
No.
kind of occasionally, yeah. I just
Whenever Goldschmidt
because
is
they're
off,
both
sure.
yeah. I mean, Pujols played first for the Dodgers for the most part, but
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just curious.
No, yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not the most even of distributions, but and didn't really expect it to be either. But because you clearly have a better defensive option, so yeah. Either way, it'll be interesting to see how it comes down, but I think I like Goldschmidt better.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Triple
Anyway.
Crown's hard.
It's
Triple
really
Crown is hard. That's
Yeah,
how
it would be the first since the color barrier broke. Isn't it like wasn't the last guy in like the early 40s,
tungsten
late
arm,
30s?
whatever.
No. Wrong division, wrong team that Pools played for.
I was like,
Didn't Miguel Cabrera win?
yeah, like we're just forgetting Miguel
Yeah, but that
Cabrera's
was AL.
2013 season.
That was
Okay,
that
yeah,
was
specifying
okay,
AL.
okay.
Yes, I was like, did Miguel Cabrera just stop playing baseball?
I don't recognize it because I don't recognize the 2013 Tigers. They're frauds. Good teams don't get walked off by noted elite hitter Steven Vogt.
I suppose. I do love
That's
Steven.
baseball.
That's baseball. There's always something. But yeah. So yeah, that's our 7th inning stretch, everybody. So yeah, I think there was a lot of good stuff in there. I think the questions were very well written. So shout out to Peyton for those. But yeah. So now I get to pick my objective winner because I actually didn't even keep track of points at all. But I think the winner this week is gonna be Tavi. Like,
but you're a
lot of
Giants
very
fan.
There's really good points.
Dude, there's respect. There is respect between
Yeah.
Dodgers and Giants fans, man.
There is. Like, it was a lot of good points. You just can't refute good points. Like that's you can, but we've seen you do it all night, Jenny. But besides that,
It's not refuting good points. It's playing narrative ball.
that's fair. That is fair.
I thought it was called being a curmudgeon, but you know.
That's a word I don't know. So
lovingly meant. No, it's wonderful.
okay. Anyway,
I'm
is there
more
anything else?
offended at
Big
Diego not
baseball?
knowing the word curmudgeon than being called a curmudgeon. It's a fun word to say.
I did math in school, dude. I didn't do English for a reason. I did numbers with my life. Like that's what I chose.
Didn't your teacher make you read the thesaurus when you finished with all your work?
No.
Wow.
No, that sounds awful.
I guess that's why I'm particularly verbose these days.
That's a good word.
Very
You know that
loquacious. Good
means-
job.
That's not what I know. Anyway, but anything else baseball like that didn't get covered in that 7th inning stretch that happened this week? I think we might have hit on most of it. Nothing
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I don't think.
I got nothing.
A's 20-year reunion of the 2002 A's who had that 20-game win streak.
Ooh, that is
Yeah,
fun.
they also dunked on the movie Moneyball, which I thought was beautiful.
Yeah, I saw that.
Art
I'm
House
in the
still
process of
mad
reading
about
book.
that.
Still so mad. I love that Hatterberg was like, I got to meet some famous people, and everybody else was like, that's not how it was. And I was like, I think they might have hit the nail on the head on casting there.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I don't know. Might go watch Moneyball tonight just because of that.
I don't even get it. In the movie, Art House not an unreasonable character.
He's not. He's really
No.
not. Like, just because he doesn't buy into this at this time completely untested theory doesn't
It's not
mean
that
he's
he
a bad
doesn't even
manager.
buy into it. It's that he's trying to put together a good resume. He's not trying to not make a fool of himself
Yeah.
when he tries to get a contract with another team, which they eventually did extend him.
Yeah, but like it's fun. It's movies. It's great.
Yeah.
It's Brad Pitt.
It's Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill.
Exactly. So
I mean,
nothing else matters.
that movie changed Jonah Hill's career. Like, he was the funny kid before that, and then everyone was like, that kid, and he was that kid. Like, he did good.
was that
And then
guy.
Josh Gad became Jonah Hill.
Oh,
Little acting joke for you.
that wasn't exactly a void we needed to fill. So
A little acting.
Hey, I like Josh Gad.
Anyway,
he
now
has
that
a
we're
very
done.
good reputation. I will say that he's a nice guy.
That's fair. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's about wraps it up for baseball talk. Anyway, here on This Week in Baseball. If you don't know where to find us, how'd you get here? But if you do want to continue to find us, and oh yes, Peyton, Hawaii did win the Little League World Series. That is
Steamrolled. They didn't win it. They
Yeah,
acquired it. They consumed it. They were amazing.
They were insane. I for some reason in my head I'm like, oh yeah, we definitely mentioned that, but no, yeah. Shout out Hawaii Little League World Series. They were incredible all throughout the duration. So, but yeah,
60-5 run differential.
Yeah, and 3 of those runs came in the championship game, where they won 13-3 via run rule. Don't call it the
I was about
Mercy
to
rule.
say,
They don't
how
like
many
that.
people did they, whatever they're calling Mercy rule now?
Run rule.
Run rule.
A lot, a lot. But yes,
Amazing.
Shout out Team Hawaii.
I
Thank
wonder
you,
how
Peyton,
many
for
bets that
reminding me.
screwed up.
because you can bet on Little League World Series baseball.
Not enough. The fact that you can bet on it is nasty. But
True. Anyway, back to the outro. If you don't know where to find us, how did you get here? But if you would like to continue to find us all around the internet, our website is diamond-digest.com, our Twitter @diamond_digest, and our Instagram diamond.digest, because yes, we are extremely consistent in our online presence. If you'd like to follow anybody here on the screen, our ats are by our names here. So if you'd like to find out and follow any of us for any particular reason, I tweet pretty much just baseball stuff. I'll live tweet Giants games when I watch them. Jenny will tweet about the A's and just I think baseball in general as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I talk a lot about butts. It's cool.
Just anything.
Actually, if you're interested in baseball history, I do.
Yes.
My day job is renovating baseball equipment for
absolutely.
a prop house.
That's cool.
So if you're interested in old equipment, old gloves, and discussions about Dodger butts, follow me.
Is it just Dodger butts or is it other?
Well,
Is it
the
mostly
other
Dodger butts,
Seager
or-
retired, so
That's fair. Get it. And then Maddox, I'm assuming via the your handle there, it's probably a lot of Mets stuff.
Yeah, I don't tweet very much, but it's a lot of Mets stuff when it comes out.
No, same.
I
Like,
don't want to
tweet
know
a
what
lot.
Mets goo is.
Well, it's
Exactly
just
what-
go, but like that was already taken,
I
so
know.
I just tacked it on, you know.
why does
Let's
it make
go,
me think
Mets.
of the Cookie Club? I don't know.
Just the 2 O's, maybe the
Two O's.
cookies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cookie,
That's
or like a
Mhm.
gooey cookie. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, something along those lines. Anyway, but that's it for us here on episode, I think it was 13. I already forgot, of This Week in Baseball presented by Diamond Digest. Until next time, we'll see you later in the good old Go Baseball. Have a good night, everyone. Or day, whenever you listen to this. Have a good day.